I'll try to share with you guys some new way of thinking, not only about biofilms, but about biology. And this is a sort of is going to be the theme, okay, of the 3 lectures that we're going to have today. And I hope you will learn and enjoy learning, okay? So with that, here's my first slide. So just to give you a rough outline, so the first lecture today we're going to talk about something that's sort of very interesting and hopefully will be intellectually stimulating, which is stochasticity or randomness in biology. And you will see that this is actually a very important problem, topic, and it's something very new, okay? And then the next one is going to be emergent behavior. And the emergent behavior is also sort of a concept that we in biology derived from physics, actually, and we'll talk about that. And it really is very critical for understanding biofilms. And a third lecture at the end of the day is going to be about electrical signaling. To predict something, it promotes stochasticity. Okay, why is that? Right? Do you guys see sort of this conundrum? Right? I'm saying deterministic is predictable, would be nice, but then if you're trying to predict the future, it makes the system more stochastic. That's trying to predict the future. Why is that? Well, this is the problem in cartoon form. Okay, so I drew this myself. Thank you very much. This is my bacteria right here. And I try to think about how I would sort of illustrate this problem, okay? So imagine there's a door, and behind the door is the future, okay? And there's your bacteria, and it's trying to predict the future. Why? Well, because it's going to change its state, right? Maybe there's not going to be water. Maybe I'm going to get a lot of sugar, or maybe the food's going to run out. And that might mean I should change my metabolism, for example, right? But it's unpredictable to the bacteria. There's no like weather forecast that the bacteria can look up on their iPhone, say, oh, what's the weather going to be? Do I need to bring an umbrella? Kind of thing, okay? So the bacteria have no way of determining really what the future is going to hold. Even if they could perfectly measure everything at this very particular moment, it will not provide sufficient information in terms of what the environment will be like 10 minutes from now, right? You're a bacillus. You're sitting on the eyebrow. Well, maybe you're going to rub it, and then you're going to go like this, and you're going to go like that.
You can make a business case for why we should do something different. I'll consider it, right? I can pivot, I can adapt, I can flex if there's a reason to do so, okay? Welcomes feedback. They genuinely like and appreciate feedback. If they're not getting enough, they will come and ask you for it. They don't get upset. They don't take it personally. It's just information. If it helps me get better, put it right into practice. If not, let it go, let it go. Embraces challenges. They like to challenge and test and push and stretch themselves, right? They assume they can do anything until proven otherwise. That is an empirical question. Okay? Open to other ideas. So if we're in a meeting, my job is not to be right. My job is to get us to the right answer, right? And if you have a better idea than me today, thank you so much for bringing that. We're totally doing that, right? I don't care where the idea comes from. I am totally agnostic as to the source of the idea. The only thing I care about is it the best idea?
Now, you open the apex or the access large, and then they come back 6 months, a year later, and the crown's snapped off. Is there anything we can do to hedge our bets in that? I think there is now. So we treatment plan this case out, minimally invasive access, guided. And you can see we had a very conservative access there, both canals filled. Now an anterior shows up on your schedule, there's usually a reason why. It's usually either perforated, it's calcified, there's always some problem with it, resorptive defect, and that's typically the case. That's what this one was. Treatment planned it out. I have a video of this one here. And again, like I said, getting started is kind of the hardest part. Once you get that little purchase point, you can line gradually walk the handpiece back into position. There is a little bit of a learning curve on this. The oral surgeon that started the company, he and engineer, they did a little pilot study, and their study shows for implants, it's about 20 cases is what they're showing. I think for endodontists using the microscope, I think it'll be less than that. removed the crown, he placed a new crown. I mean, the restorative dentist placed a new crown. That's an 11-year follow-up on a mesiobuccal root amp. And here's a 13-year. Actually, John did this distobuccal root amp 13 years ago, but I did this amalgam. He came back. We talked about this for him to fix it, but he said, I'm asymptomatic, I'm fine. I said, okay. So he's still working at 13 years. And here's a 15-year follow-up on a mesiobuccal root amp. You know, this is interesting to me. It's a distal root amp. You know, patient has a crown. It still like almost looks like a full-size crown on it, and it's 17 years. This is 18 years on a distobuccal. This is
primers you need to rub or wait for 20 seconds. I basically put it in, and then assistant has the suction here. I dry it again, so we have primed the porcelain and the dentin. Now it's time to put the bonding in. Again, I want to have it like this. I have smaller sponges than this, and then what I said, put the bonding everywhere. Now you can see you get a little bit of pooling. So
it's okay. Not bad, a little dark. So, I mean, that's certainly in the ballpark, but we can help this picture. Depth of field is closed already, so that's good. But so how do we help this picture now? So our dual iris is where we want it. That's why the depth of field is pretty good here. But it's too dark. So we increase our ISO. Okay.
And that ISO you have to increase on the camera?
On the Breeze Sys program. Picture? So now we've got a picture where we've adjusted 3 things. We've got the dual iris where we want it, shutter speed, and the ISO where we want it. We've got a decent picture.
Assistant, you have a talking machine. So this is what we do. So think about this. This is a very unprofessional way of doing things. So to make it easier for you guys to understand how we think about the TDO system of consultation, we broke in 4 phases, okay? So you can understand better step by step. So I think it makes this easier for you guys to understand. So let's break the consultation in 4 phases for you guys, okay? And then we are going to do the demo. So the TDO style of consultation. The first phase, it is number 1, organization. So when I say AS is the assistant.
What we do about the instrumentarium, we know what we are going to use, and we try to place it, first of all, in an order manner. So you start from your mirror, that is the first thing you're going to use, then you go to the props, then you're going to go to your incision, elevation, then you're going to fill up the canal, you're going to plug it in, and then you're going to go to the sutures. Okay, so it has to be done in a comprehensive manner so that the assistants, they do not have to think where to go look for the instruments. Okay, so that's also going to simplify the work and the job of the assistants.
When we work with the assistant scope, you start out, the doc gets himself positioned, he's positioned behind the chair, has his legs underneath the chair, can shift back and forth, up and down. It's really, these chairs are really nice as far as the swiveling, because this allows you to do all the movements of the patient without having to move the scope.
And also repeating all the previous lessons prior to the new one. So that's how we do it. So, for example, we start, and also the checklist as well. So I've got some video here. So for example, with the mirror pass drill, we'll start by showing her how it's done, why it's done, and also how to do it. That's it. Okay, so break it down. Start with one. Tap with the pinky, so she's signaling to me that she's going to take it. Take the old one.
Referral. The way we interact with our referrals, we can fail to do good. And so here it is here. The specialist or consulting dentist, upon completion of their care, shall return the patient, unless the patient expressly reveals, to the referring dentist. So the only reason we shouldn't return them to the referring dentist is if the patient asks not to be. Well, who do we have an obligation to? Because what if they came from the lion's den? Am I going to send them back in there? That's why you don't work with bad dentists. It skirts that problem.
What's the various outcomes that we're going to do? And this takes 7 minutes to calculate, so we're going to skip to the end of it. Here we go. So here is a histogram that shows the range in successes that we observe, given that we know we started with equal success rates. So here, about 38% of the time, we're going to observe a difference between the two groups that have no difference of about 5%. About a third of the time. About 2/3 of the time, we are going to, by chance alone, observe a greater than 5% difference in the groups. Yeah, when there was no underlying difference. So what's the take home from this? If we actually do the clinical trial. Steve? I thought someone started to say something. You need a bigger N number. What if we actually do the clinical trial and we say that, you know, if there's only a 5% difference in the groups, we don't really care. Okay? How often is less than a 5% difference in these groups going to be observed when there actually was no difference?